Catherine Walsh stared out the viewport of Space Station Alpha, watching Earth turn slowly below. The blue planet looked peaceful from orbit, but she knew better. Humanity had barely survived first contact with the alien races beyond their solar system. Now, 3 years later, they were still struggling to find their place among the stars. Lieutenant Commander Walsh. A voice called from behind her. "The General is ready for you." Kate turned from the viewport. At 32 years old, she had the focused eyes of someone who had seen battle. Her brown hair was cut short in the standard military style, and her uniform bore the marks of her rank and achievements. "Thank you, Sergeant," she replied, straightening her jacket before following him down the corridor. Space Station Alpha served as Earth's military headquarters. The hallways were filled with officers and crew members going about their duties. Many nodded respectfully as Kate passed. The Walsh name carried weight in the United Earth Defense Force. The sergeant stopped at a large door marked General Patricia Harris, UEDF Command. He pressed his hand to the scanner and the door slid open. "Lieutenant Commander Walsh reporting as ordered, General," Kate said, as she entered the office and stood at attention. General Harris was a stern woman with gray hair and the weathered face of someone who had carried heavy responsibilities for many years. She looked up from her desk and motioned for Kate to sit. "At ease, Walsh. We have something important to discuss." Kate sat in the chair across from the general, her back still straight. "Is this about the Vorn incursion near Jupiter, ma'am?" "My team has been working on new defensive patterns. This isn't about the Vorn," General Harris interrupted. She touched a control on her desk, and a holographic image appeared between them. It showed a tall humanoid alien with blue-green skin and 4 eyes. "This is Crown Prince Zalvek of the Zyraxian Empire." Kate studied the image. The Zyraxians were known for their advanced technology and warrior culture. They had approached Earth 2 years ago, offering alliance against the aggressive Vorn collective, but the talks had stalled. "The negotiations are moving forward again," the general continued. "The Zyraxians have proposed a traditional alliance method." Kate felt a strange tension grow in her stomach. "What kind of method?" General Harris sighed. "A marriage alliance. They've requested a union between their crown prince and a human of warrior bloodline to seal our treaty." The words hung in the air for a moment before Kate understood their meaning. "And you want me to—" Kate left the question unfinished, hoping she was wrong. "Your father, Admiral Joseph Walsh, negotiated our first peace treaty with the Zyraxians. He earned their respect. The Walsh name means something to them." The general's voice became firm. "You've been selected, Catherine. You will marry Crown Prince Zalvek and serve as Earth's ambassador to the Zyraxian Empire." Kate stood up so quickly her chair nearly fell backward. "General, with all due respect, I'm a tactical officer, not a diplomat. I've spent my career developing weapon systems and battle strategies. I don't know the first thing about being anyone's wife, let alone an alien prince's." "You'll learn," General Harris said simply. "Earth needs this alliance, Walsh. Without Zyraxian technology and protection, humanity stands alone against the Vorn and other threats we barely understand." Kate paced the office, her mind racing. "There must be someone else, someone with actual diplomatic training. The Zyraxians respect strength above all else. They want a warrior, not a talker." The general stood and walked around her desk. "Catherine, I know this isn't what you planned for your life, but sometimes duty asks more of us than we expect to give." Kate stopped pacing and looked at the hologram of the alien prince again. He was wearing some kind of ceremonial armor that gleamed even in the projection. She couldn't read the expression on his non-human face. "When?" she asked finally. "The wedding will take place in 3 months on Zyrax Prime. Ambassador Gregory Williams will begin briefing you on their customs tomorrow." General Harris put a hand on Kate's shoulder. "This is bigger than any one person, Commander. This alliance could save our species." Kate nodded stiffly. "Yes, ma'am." When she left the general's office, Kate felt like she was walking through a dream. The hallways of the station seemed strange and distant. Without thinking, her feet took her to the combat training deck where she spent most of her free time. The large room was empty except for one person using the punching bag in the corner. Lieutenant Alicia Patel, Kate's best friend since their academy days, stopped her workout when she saw Kate's face. "What's wrong?" Alicia asked, wiping sweat from her forehead. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Kate tried to smile but failed. "Not a ghost, an alien prince." She told Alicia everything while they sat on the training mats. When she finished, there was a long silence. "So you're getting married?" Alicia said finally. "To an alien you've never met?" "Apparently." "And moving to another planet?" "Yes." Alicia shook her head slowly. "Kate, you can say no. Even the UEDF can't force you to marry someone." Kate leaned back against the wall and closed her eyes. "You heard what happened to the Collins colony last month. The Vorn wiped out 10,000 people in one attack. Without this alliance, that could be Earth next." She opened her eyes again. "How could I live with myself if I said no and our planet was destroyed?" "It's not fair to put that weight on your shoulders," Alicia argued. "Life isn't fair," Kate replied. "We learned that when the aliens first came." They sat in silence for a while, the hum of the station's systems the only sound. "So what now?" Alicia asked eventually. Kate stood up and walked to the weapons rack. She picked up a training sword, feeling its familiar weight in her hand. "Now I learn how to be a princess," she said, beginning the training forms she had practiced. Since childhood, the movements were precise and powerful. "And I don't forget how to be a warrior." The next few weeks passed in a blur of lessons and preparations. Ambassador Williams drilled Kate on Xeraxian customs for hours each day. She learned their language, which contained sounds her human throat could barely make. She studied their history, a bloody tale of conquest and honor spanning thousands of years. She practiced their formal court movements until her muscles ached. "The Xeraxians have a rigid caste system," Williams explained during one session. "As Prince Zalvex, consort, you will rank above most nobles but must always show proper deference to the royal family." "And how do I do that?" Kate asked, tired from hours of bowing practice. "Never make direct eye contact with the emperor or empress unless invited to speak. Keep your head lower than the princes at formal functions. Never show your back to a member of the royal family." The ambassador's list of rules seemed endless. At night, Kate returned to her quarters and practiced combat moves to clear her mind. Sometimes she thought about her father. Admiral Walsh had died defending Earth during the first Vorn attack. Would he be proud of what she was doing now, or would he think she was being used as a political pawn? 1 month before the wedding, a Xeraxian ship arrived at Earth to transport Kate to their homeworld for final preparations. She stood in the shuttle bay of Space Station Alpha with her small bag of personal belongings. General Harris and a group of high-ranking officers had come to see her off. "Remember your training, Commander," General Harris said, "and remember who you are." "A soldier of Earth," Kate replied automatically. "More than that," the general said, quietly. "You're Catherine Walsh. Don't let them make you forget that." As Kate boarded the shuttle that would take her to the Xeraxian ship, she touched the small pin hidden inside her collar. It bore the Walsh family crest, a shield with stars above it. No matter what happened next, she would carry Earth with her. The shuttle doors closed and Catherine Walsh left her home planet behind. Her new life was about to begin. The Xeraxian ship was unlike anything Kate had ever seen. From the outside, it looked like a giant crystal, catching and reflecting the light of distant stars. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to come from within the material itself. Kate stood by the viewing window in her quarters, watching as Earth grew smaller behind them. They had been traveling for 3 days now. The ship moved faster than human vessels, using technology Earth scientists still didn't understand. A soft chiming sound came from her door. Kate straightened her uniform and said, "Enter." A Xeraxian crew member stepped inside. Like all of his kind, he towered over Kate, standing nearly 7 feet tall. His blue-green skin had a slight shimmer under the lights. "Lieutenant Commander Walsh," he said in careful English. "Ship Commander Drenval requests your presence on the command deck. We are preparing to make the jump to faster-than-light travel." Kate nodded. "Thank you. I'll come right away." She followed the alien through curving hallways. Other crew members stopped and watched as she passed. Some looked curious. Others seemed less friendly. Kate kept her face calm and her back straight, remembering Ambassador Williams's words. Never show weakness or uncertainty among Zyraxians. They respect only strength. The command deck was a large, circular room with control stations around the edges and a raised platform in the center. Ship Commander Drenval, a tall Zyraxian with decorated armor, turned as Kate entered. "Commander Walsh," he said, inclining his head slightly. "We are about to enter FTL travel. I thought you might wish to observe, as your people have not yet developed this technology." "Thank you, Commander," Kate replied with the formal hand gesture she had been taught. "It's an honor to witness this." Drenval seemed pleased by her correct response. He motioned her to join him on the central platform. "The journey to Zyrax Prime typically takes 22 of your Earth days," he explained. "But with the FTL drive, we will arrive in just 4. Kate watched as the crew prepared the ship. Screens around the command deck showed stars and the empty blackness of space. "Engage the fold drive," Drenval ordered. The ship hummed with energy. On the screens, space itself seemed to bend and stretch. Kate felt a strange sensation, as if her body was being gently pulled in all directions at once. Then there was a flash of light, and the stars outside disappeared, replaced by swirling colors that made no sense to human eyes. "We are now traveling through folded space," Drenval said, watching Kate's reaction. "Impressive, is it not?" "Very," Kate agreed honestly. "My father would have loved to see this." "Admiral Walsh," Drenval said with respect in his voice. "His name is known among our warriors. He fought with honor against the Vorn." Kate felt a sudden connection with the alien commander. "You knew of him?" "All who study battle tactics know of the defense of Earth. Your father's strategies are studied by our military academy cadets." Drenval made a gesture that Kate didn't recognize. "It is fitting that his daughter will join our royal house." Before Kate could respond, another Zyraxian approached and whispered something to Drenval. The commander nodded. "It seems you will meet your future husband sooner than expected," he told Kate. "Prince Zalvek has joined this vessel. He wishes to speak with you before we reach Zyrax Prime." Kate felt her heart beat faster. "I thought he was waiting on the homeworld." "The prince often acts in unexpected ways," Drenval said. There was something in his tone that Kate couldn't quite read. "A guide will take you to the royal quarters in 1 hour. Prepare yourself." Back in her room, Kate changed into the formal Earth uniform she had been given for diplomatic meetings. Dark blue with silver trim, it displayed her rank and the UEDF emblem. She checked her appearance in the mirror, making sure everything was perfect. When the guide came, Kate followed silently through parts of the ship she hadn't seen before. The hallways became wider, and the lighting changed to a golden color. Finally, they stopped before a large door with symbols carved into its surface. "The prince awaits," the guide said, then left Kate standing alone. She took a deep breath, remembering her training, then placed her hand on the door sensor. The door slid open. The room beyond was spacious and filled with strange plants that seemed to glow faintly. Windows showed the swirling colors of folded space. Standing with his back to her was a tall figure in ornate armor. "Prince Zalvek," Kate said, giving the formal bow she had practiced countless times. "I am Lieutenant Commander Catherine Walsh, of Earth." The prince turned. Kate had seen images of Zyraxians before, but none had prepared her for Prince Zalvek. His skin was a deeper blue than others of his kind, with markings on his face that suggested royalty. 4 eyes, larger than those of regular Zyraxians, studied her with obvious intelligence. "Catherine Walsh," he said, his voice deeper than she expected. "Daughter of Admiral Joseph Walsh, tactical officer. 16 confirmed victories against enemy vessels." Kate was surprised. "You've researched me?" "Of course." The prince moved closer, circling Kate as if studying her from all angles. "Did you think our royal house would accept just any human for this alliance?" Kate remembered her training. Show no fear, show no anger. I assumed the choice was made by Earth leadership, not yours. A joint decision, Prince Zalvek replied. He stopped in front of her. Your planet offered several candidates. I selected you. This was news to Kate. May I ask why? The prince's four eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Kate didn't understand. Your battle record shows intelligence and courage. Your psychological profile shows loyalty and determination. He paused. And you come from a bloodline that has already proven its worth against our common enemy. Kate thought of her father. The Vorn. Yes. Prince Zalvek turned and walked to a table where a 3D map of the galaxy glowed. The Vorn Collective grows stronger. They have taken 3 star systems in the past year alone. If they are not stopped, they will eventually reach both our worlds. He waved a hand over the map, and it changed to show military movements. Earth has courage and creativity but lacks advanced technology. The Xeraxian Empire has technology and strength, but our numbers grow small after centuries of war. The prince looked at Kate again. Together, we might survive. Apart, we will both fall. Kate understood war and threats. This made more sense to her than talk of diplomatic marriages. So our wedding is a military strategy, she said. All royal marriages are strategic, Prince Zalvek replied. Did you expect romance, Catherine Walsh? No, Kate said honestly. I expected duty. Something changed in the prince's expression. Good. Many would have lied. He gestured to a chair. Sit. We have much to discuss before we reach Xyrax Prime. Kate sat across from the prince as he called for refreshments. A server brought strange-looking food and drinks. This has been adapted for human biology, Prince Zalvek explained, pointing to Kate's portion. You need not fear poison. I wasn't worried about poison, Kate said as she carefully tried the food. It had an odd, spicy taste. Many at the royal court will wish you gone, the prince said bluntly. Some believe humans are too primitive for alliance. Others fear your kind will eventually grow to challenge us. And what do you believe? Kate asked. Prince Zalvek studied her for a long moment. I believe in survival, and I believe the old ways of isolation have failed. He leaned forward. But make no mistake, Catherine Walsh. I will do whatever is necessary to protect my people, even if that means sacrificing this alliance. Kate met his gaze steadily. As would I for Earth. The prince made a sound that might have been a laugh. Perhaps this arrangement will work after all. They spent the next 2 hours discussing what Kate would face on Xyrax Prime. The prince explained court politics, the factions for and against the human alliance, and what would be expected of Kate as his consort. You must appear strong, he told her. Weakness is despised in our culture, but you must also show proper respect for our ways. A difficult balance, Kate noted. Indeed. The prince stood and walked to the window. We will arrive in 3 days. You should continue your preparations. Kate stood as well, recognizing the dismissal. She gave the formal bow again, but as she turned to leave, Prince Zalvek spoke once more. Catherine Walsh. She looked back at him. I did not choose you only for your father's name or your battle record, he said. I chose you because your eyes show a warrior's spirit. Remember that when the court tries to break you. Kate didn't know how to respond to that, so she simply nodded and left. As she walked back to her quarters, she thought about the prince. He was not what she had expected. Not warm, certainly not friendly, but direct and honest in his own way. She could work with that. This was a mission like any other. Her job was to represent Earth and help secure the alliance that might save both their worlds. For the first time since leaving Earth, Kate felt something close to hope. Perhaps this strange duty would not be the prison she had feared. Xyrax Prime filled the viewing window as the ship approached. It was a strange world to human eyes. The oceans were purple instead of blue, and the land was covered with crystalline forests that sparkled in the light of the system's twin suns. Kate stood on the observation deck, watching as they descended toward the capital city. After 4 days of travel, they had finally arrived at her new home. The thought made her stomach tighten. Impressive, isn't it? A voice said behind her. Kate turned to see Prince Zalvek. In the days since their first meeting, they had spoken, several more times. The conversations had been formal but informative. Kate still couldn't read the prince's emotions well, but she was learning. "Very different from Earth," she replied. "Our cities aren't so vertical." The capital city of Zyrax Prime stretched upward with impossibly tall spires that seemed to be made of the same crystal-like material as the ship. Some reached so high, they disappeared into the clouds. "The royal palace is there," Prince Zalvek said, pointing to a massive structure at the center of the city. It glowed with a blue light even in the daytime. "Your new home?" "How many people live there?" Kate asked. "The royal house includes over 3,000 members of various ranks," the prince explained, "plus the servants, guards, and advisors, perhaps 5,000 in total." Kate tried not to show her surprise. On Earth, even the largest government buildings didn't house so many people. "We will arrive in 1 hour," Prince Zalvek continued. "A royal welcome has been prepared. Remember your training." "I'll do my best not to embarrass Earth or your royal house," Kate promised. The prince studied her for a moment. "Many will try to make you fail, Catherine Walsh. Do not let them succeed." With that warning, he left her alone with her thoughts. Hour later, Kate stood in the ship's transport room, wearing her formal Earth uniform. Her heart beat fast, but her face remained calm. The doors opened, and bright light flooded in. "Ready?" Prince Zalvek asked, now dressed in elaborate royal armor that gleamed with embedded technology. Kate nodded, and they stepped forward together. There was a brief sensation of movement, and then they were standing on a platform in an enormous crystal hall. Hundreds of Zyraxians in formal attire watched them. The ceiling soared so high above that Kate couldn't see where it ended. A Zyraxian in ceremonial robes stepped forward and announced something in their native language. The words echoed through the hall. Kate recognized only her name, and Earth mentioned among the unfamiliar sounds. Prince Zalvek led her forward to where 2 Zyraxians sat on raised thrones. They wore more elaborate versions of the prince's armor, with glowing symbols that seemed to float just above the material. "Emperor Vexor and Empress Linval," the prince said quietly to Kate. "My parents." Kate gave the deep bow she had practiced for this moment, keeping her eyes down as Ambassador Williams had taught her. "Rise, human," a deep voice said in English. "Let us look upon the warrior Earth has sent us." Kate straightened and found the Emperor's 4 eyes studying her intently. He was larger than other Zyraxians she had seen, with darker blue skin and more pronounced facial markings. "Small," the Emperor commented. "Do all humans have such limited size? Our strength lies in strategy and adaptability, Your Imperial Majesty," Kate replied carefully. The Empress leaned forward slightly. "She speaks well for a primitive species," she said, not bothering to use English. Kate had to hide her reaction. The Zyraxians didn't know that she understood more of their language than she let on. Ambassador Williams had advised her to keep this secret for now. "The human will need extensive training before the bonding ceremony," said another Zyraxian, who stepped forward from beside the throne. He wore robes rather than armor, and his manner seemed disapproving. "She knows nothing of our ways." "High Counselor Dravmore," Prince Zalvek said, "Lieutenant Commander Walsh has been studying our culture extensively." "Study is not experience," the High Counselor replied. He turned to Kate and switched to English. "Can you recite the 16 forms of imperial address? Or explain the 7 sacred postures of the bonding ceremony?" Before Kate could answer, Prince Zalvek spoke. "High Counselor, there will be time for such questions later. The human has just arrived after a long journey." The Emperor raised a hand and everyone fell silent. "My son is correct. The formal testing will come tomorrow. For now, let the human rest and prepare." He looked at Kate. "Our world is very different from yours, Catherine Walsh. Its gravity is stronger, its air thinner. You will find it challenging." "I welcome the challenge, Your Imperial Majesty," Kate said with another bow. This seemed to please the Emperor. He made a gesture, and the formal reception continued with Zyraxian nobles coming forward to be introduced. Kate tried to remember all the names and ranks, but there were so many. Some, like the Emperor, spoke to her in English. Others used the Zyraxian language and looked annoyed when she didn't immediately understand. After what felt like hours, Prince Zalvek finally led her away from the reception hall and through a series of corridors. 2 guards followed at a distance. "You did well," the prince said. "Better than many expected." "The High Counselor doesn't approve of me," Kate noted. "Dravmor comes from an old house that believes in keeping the bloodlines pure," Prince Zalvek explained. He was among those who argued against the human alliance. They stopped before a large door carved with unfamiliar symbols. "These are your quarters," the prince said. "My own are connected through the inner garden. Servants will attend. If you need anything, simply speak your request aloud. The room systems will understand Earth English." Kate nodded, suddenly feeling tired. The higher gravity of Zyrax Prime made her body feel heavy, and the thinner air left her slightly short of breath. "Rest now," Prince Zalvek told her. "Tomorrow will be difficult." He was right. The next 3 weeks were the hardest of Kate's life. Each morning began with physical training adapted for her human body. The Zyraxians were impressed that she could function in their world's gravity without assistance, but they still pushed her to her limits. After physical training came lessons in court protocol, language, history, and royal customs. High Counselor Dravmor supervised these sessions personally, often finding fault with even Kate's best efforts. "The human lacks proper breeding," he said loudly during one lesson, speaking Zyraxian as if Kate couldn't understand. "Her bloodline is diluted. She will bring weakness to the royal house." Prince Zalvek, who sometimes observed the lessons, surprised everyone by responding coldly. "Lieutenant Commander Walsh has 16 confirmed kills against Vorn's scout ships and personally developed the defense strategy that protected her homeworld from the Celsian incursion. What battles have you won recently, Counselor?" After that, Dravmor was less openly hostile, but Kate could feel his eyes watching her, waiting for mistakes. In the evenings, she was often invited to formal dinners where noble houses competed for the Emperor's favor. The food was strange but mostly edible for humans. The conversation was the real challenge, shifting alliances and hidden meanings behind seemingly innocent questions. "Is it true that humans live less than a century?" one noble asked during a dinner. "How sad to die just as you begin to understand the world." "We learn quickly," Kate replied with a smile. "We have to." Some of the Zyraxians found her amusing. Others clearly saw her as a threat to their traditions. A few seemed genuinely curious about Earth and humans. One night, 2 weeks after her arrival, Kate couldn't sleep. The wedding was just a week away and the pressure was growing. She decided to visit the training room connected to her quarters. Physical exercise always helped clear her mind. To her surprise, Prince Zalvek was already there, practicing combat moves with a training drone. "I didn't mean to interrupt," Kate said, starting to leave. "Stay," the prince replied. "I am curious about human fighting techniques." Kate hesitated, then entered the room fully. "They're probably primitive by your standards." "Show me anyway," he said, deactivating the drone. Kate began with basic UEDF hand-to-hand combat forms, modified for the higher gravity. The prince watched, with interest, occasionally asking questions about specific movements. "Your techniques are well adapted for a physically weaker species," he commented, using the opponent's strength against them. "We work with what we have," Kate said, completing a complex defensive sequence. "A good philosophy for survival." The prince activated a weapons rack, and various training implements emerged from the wall. "Do you use weapons as well?" Kate selected a staff that resembled the ones used in UEDF training. "This is similar to what we train with." They spent the next hour sharing combat techniques. Despite their different biologies, many of the principles were the same. For the first time since arriving on Zyrax Prime, Kate felt almost comfortable. "You fight well," Prince Zalvek said as they finished. "I begin to understand why my father agreed to this alliance." "Is that why you agreed?" Kate asked, taking a chance on a personal question. The prince was silent for a moment. I agreed because I have seen the future if we continue alone. It ends with the Vorn collective consuming both our worlds. He put away his training weapon. But I choose to believe this alliance may offer more than mere survival. Before Kate could ask what he meant, a communication alert sounded. The prince activated a holographic display that appeared in the air before him. "What's happening?" Kate asked, moving closer to see the holographic message. Prince Zalvek's 4 eyes narrowed as he read. "A Vorn scout fleet has been detected near Earth's moon. Your military believes it may be the first wave of a larger attack force." Kate felt her heart rate increase. "Earth's defenses aren't ready for a full Vorn attack. We need more time." "Time we may not have," the prince said grimly. "This message also contains new intelligence. The Vorn appear to know about our alliance plans. They may be attacking now to prevent our union." Kate understood the implications immediately. If they can stop the wedding, they can keep our worlds divided. She straightened her back. "We need to move faster." Prince Zalvek studied her face. "The traditional bonding ceremony requires 6 more days of preparation." "We don't have 6 days," Kate replied. "Every hour we wait puts Earth at greater risk." The prince nodded and made a decision. "Come with me. We must speak with the Emperor." They hurried through the palace corridors, past surprised guards and servants. It was late in the night cycle, but Emperor Vexor was still awake, meeting with his military advisors in the war room. Kate had never been allowed in this inner sanctum before. The large circular chamber was filled with holographic displays, showing star systems, fleet positions, and battle data. About a dozen high-ranking Xeraxians turned in surprise as Kate and the prince entered. "What is the meaning of this?" High Counselor Dravmore demanded. "The human is not permitted in the War Council." "Father." Prince Zalvek ignored the counselor and addressed the Emperor directly. "News from Earth. The Vorn are making their move." Emperor Vexor gestured, and one of the holographic displays changed to show the message from Earth. The Xeraxian military leaders studied it with serious expressions. "This changes our timeline," the Emperor said after a moment. "High Admiral Krenzor, how quickly can our defense fleet reach the Earth system?" A tall, battle-scarred Xeraxian stepped forward. "At maximum speed, 3 days, Your Majesty. But that would leave our home defenses weakened." "We cannot risk Xyrax Prime," Dravmore argued. "The human world must fend for itself until after the proper bonding ceremony is complete." Kate couldn't stay silent. "With respect, the Vorn know about our alliance plans. That's why they're attacking now. If we wait for the traditional ceremony, Earth may fall, and you'll lose a valuable ally before the alliance even begins." The room fell silent. No one had expected the human to speak in the War Council. Emperor Vexor's 4 eyes fixed on Kate. "You dare to advise us on military matters?" Kate stood her ground. "I advise on Earth's defense capabilities, which I know better than anyone in this room. Earth cannot withstand a full Vorn attack alone, but together our forces could." Prince Zalvek moved to stand beside Kate. "Father, I propose we accelerate the bonding ceremony, complete it tomorrow, formalize the alliance, and then send our fleet to aid Earth." High Counselor Dravmore was outraged. "Impossible. The sacred traditions cannot be rushed. The human hasn't completed the preparation rituals." "The human has a name," Kate said firmly, "and Lieutenant Commander Catherine Walsh believes saving lives is more important than ritual." The Emperor studied them both for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he laughed. "The prince and his chosen human think alike. Perhaps this union has merit after all." He rose from his command chair. "The bonding ceremony will take place tomorrow at mid-cycle. Prepare everything." "But, Your Majesty," Dravmore began. "Enough," the Emperor cut him off. "The decision is made. Now leave us. I must speak with my son and his future consort alone." When the others had left, Emperor Vexor approached Kate. He was even more intimidating up close. "You spoke boldly in my war council, Catherine Walsh. Most aliens would not dare." "I spoke out of concern for my world, Your Majesty," Kate replied. "As you should." The Emperor turned to his son. The accelerated ceremony will cause talk. Some will say we show weakness by rushing. Let them talk, Prince Zalvek said. When our combined forces defeat the Vorn, they will understand. Emperor Vexor nodded. Go and prepare. The ceremony will begin at mid-cycle. He looked at Kate again. Lieutenant Commander, you have not completed all the traditional preparations, but perhaps that is fitting. This is not a traditional alliance. The next morning was a blur of activity. Kate was taken to special chambers where attendants dressed, her in the traditional Xyraxian bonding garments, elaborate robes in shimmering blue fabric. The robes were beautiful but restrictive, designed to symbolize the consort's submission to imperial will. As Kate looked at herself in the mirror, something felt wrong. These clothes weren't her. They represented a role she was supposed to play, not who she really was. An idea formed in her mind. It was risky, possibly insulting to Xyraxian traditions, but it felt right. I need to send a message to my ship quarters, she told the attendant. The Xyraxian seemed confused but complied. Kate quickly recorded a message asking for her personal combat armor to be brought to her. The same armor she had worn during the Battle of Europa Station, where she had earned her reputation as a tactical officer. An hour later, her armor arrived. The attendants were shocked when Kate removed the traditional robes. You cannot wear battle gear to a bonding ceremony, one of them protested. Watch me, Kate replied as she put on her armor. The familiar weight of it felt reassuring. This was who she really was, a soldier of Earth, not a decorative consort. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, Prince Zalvek was preparing with his own attendants. A messenger arrived with news of Kate's decision. The human refuses the bonding robes, the messenger reported. She insists on wearing battle armor to the ceremony. High Counselor Dravmore, who was overseeing the prince's preparation, was outraged. This is the final insult. She mocks our sacred traditions. The ceremony must be cancelled. To everyone's surprise, Prince Zalvek smiled. No, the ceremony will proceed. He turned to his personal attendant. Bring my combat armor as well. Not the ceremonial kind, my battle-tested armor from the Celsian campaign. My prince, you cannot, Dravmore began. I can and I will, Prince Zalvek interrupted. The human shows wisdom. If we face the Vorn together, let us begin as we mean to continue, as warriors in alliance. At mid-cycle, the enormous imperial cathedral was filled with members of the royal court and high-ranking officials. Whispers and murmurs filled the vast space as everyone awaited the arrival of the prince and his human consort. The massive doors opened, and Kate stood there in her full UEDF battle armor. The gleaming blue-black surface was etched with her service, record in both human and Xyraxian script. Her helmet was tucked under one arm, and her sidearm, though powered down, was visibly holstered at her hip. A gasp echoed through the cathedral. What is the meaning of this? High Counselor Dravmore demanded, stepping forward from beside the imperial throne. Kate walked forward, her armor's servos giving each step a powerful resonance on the crystalline floor. I come as I am, she announced, her voice carrying through the cathedral. A warrior of Earth, joining houses with a warrior of Xyrax. She looked directly at Prince Zalvek, who stood at the front of the cathedral. For a moment, his expression was unreadable. If this alliance is to mean anything, Kate continued, it must be built on truth. And the truth is that I am a soldier first. That will never change. For a moment, the cathedral was silent. Then, to everyone's shock, Prince Zalvek began to laugh, a rich, genuine sound rarely heard from Xyraxian royalty. Perfect, he said, and snapped his fingers. The ornate robes he wore shimmered and transformed, revealing battle armor of his own beneath the ceremonial garments. I had hoped you would understand, the prince said, stepping down from the imperial dais to meet her. A true alliance cannot be built by hiding who we are. The ceremony continued, but nothing like the carefully choreographed event that had been planned. As Kate and Prince Zalvek exchanged the ritual vows, a disturbance erupted at the rear of the cathedral. High Admiral Krenzor and a group of officers drew weapons. This human makes a mockery of our sacred traditions, This alliance will destroy the Empire. Kate moved without hesitation, pushing the prince aside as energy weapon fire lanced through the space where he had stood. Her combat training took over as she drew her sidearm and returned fire. "Stay down," she ordered the prince. "I think not," Prince Zalvek replied, producing a weapon of his own from a compartment in his armor. They fought back to back as the cathedral erupted into chaos. Imperial guards clashed with the admiral's forces. Kate's combat training proved its worth as she neutralized 3 attackers with precision shots. Emperor Vekazor rose from his throne, his own weapons drawn. "Traitors!" he roared. "The punishment for treason is death." When Admiral Krenzor realized his coup was failing, he pulled out a strange device. "The Vorn Collective sends its regards," he snarled. Kate recognized the technology immediately. "It's a portal device, Vorn technology." The device activated, creating a swirling doorway in the air. Dark shapes began to emerge, Vorn soldiers entering the cathedral. Kate assessed the situation instantly. She ejected the power core from her sidearm and quickly recalibrated it. "This will create an electromagnetic pulse," she explained to the prince. "It should disable the portal, but we need to get it closer." Prince Zalvek nodded. "Together then."